Hello and welcome back to Versus for another Canadian Highlander match, this time between Owen and Ed. We've got Jeskai Green Control against Dimir Reanimator, and to talk us through it, James is back. Hello.
Remains always a pleasure.
Yes, good, good. I'm glad.
Good.
We've not quite put you off yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Sweet. Jeskai Green, do you want to talk us through it?
Yes. So this is a similar Jeskai control list to what you may see kicking around a little bit, but just adding a little bit of green in there for just a little bit of extra power. A couple of pointed cards are green. Mins can be red 6, and there's just some bit more solid, good mid-range threats. Tarmogoyfs, Morlocks are in there as well. But the overall point spread is very wide. He's gone for 10 one-point cards, Mana Drain, Treasure Cruise, Tiffany Tide, Mystical Tutor. Mins can be red 6, like I said. Gifts and Given, Strip Mine, Fourth Lingus, and Intuition. And this is very much just taking a Jeskai control list, trying to shove some green in there, just be a bit more proactive so you can try and get some of the combo players dead a little bit faster than regular control deck would.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, we're used to seeing Jeskai, seen a little bit of Jeskai Black or Esper Red, so was kind of interested as to why you would put green in here, just for those very few pointed cards that are a little bit broken. Makes sense.
Yeah, Oko used to be one that people put in as well, but he's kind
Okay.
of fallen by the wayside. Remarkably not good enough in 2025 to splash.
No, I don't believe that. But yeah, okay, it's definitely worse than some of the other options. All right, so Ed is on Dimir Reanimator. He's come back to the dark side, having taken a brief hiatus in green. It's just play something, cycle something, or discard something, reanimate it, and ride it to victory. Really, like that's the game plan, and do it quickly. It's definitely a combo deck. But it's a little bit more, it's less nuanced than most combo decks, I would suggest.
Yeah, it's weird that it gets its own, like, Reanimator is an archetype, right? Rather than just Reanimator as a deck. But
Yep.
yeah, it's cool. But an aggressive start. Oh, do you want to do the points? Sorry, before we start talking.
Oh yeah, good point. What are the points? The points are Mystical Tutor, Reanimate, Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Intuition, Imperial Seal, and Psychic Frog. So both players making full use of their list. None of these time walks or ancestral recalls here. Lots and lots of cards that are pointed.
Ed doing exactly what he wants to do on turn 2. I don't quite know what ratio this collective brutality becomes as a 2 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 2 when you want to discard the card and you're getting, all of that stuff. But binning a Trench Gorger, killing a Ragavan, and just a naked 2/2 from here. If there's a reanimate spell in hand from Ed, this is a terrifying start. This is like the largest blue creature you've ever seen in your life, probably.
I like collective brutality, but it looks a heck of a lot better in Ed's deck. And there's a persist. Oh, it's not that big. It's not that big. It's one smaller than every land in Ed's deck.
Yeah, this Trench Gorger is. You don't often see trample on a blue card, but this is definitely one that has earned it. So Ed just going to confirm that he has enough lands, and Owen is going to hope that he either has or will draw a Sword to Plowshares or a Path to Exile or a Solitude or some such pretty damn quick.
Yes, some form of removal right now, please.
Yes, there is a Path, there is a Swords, there is a Solitude. All of those are options. There's maybe some way to delay it so that a Mystical Tutor could get there, but probably not. Let's be honest, with the Wasteland as well really hurting.
Yeah, Wastelands was nice, like pseudo protection.
Yeah, just trying to ensure that this Trench Gorger is just going to annihilate the life total in one fell swoop.
Let me just count to see whether a Lightning Bolt would do it. No, I think that's enough lands to put.
Who needs a Marit Large, eh? We've just got a Trench Gorger. Yeah, there we go. No Swords to Plowshares on top.
Right, thanks for finding all your lands, Ed. Now shuffle them back in again, please.
Yep, that is the occasional, not quite 3-win, but close to 3-win you can get with a Reanimator by just reanimating something terrifying on turn 2 or turn 3 on the play, and your opponent not having the 2 or 3 of out in hand. So yeah, very quick game 1, but exactly what Ed wants to be doing.
Yeah, the way that I think of it normally is like a big flying 7/7 lifelink rather than a 23-23 trample or whatever it was.
Yeah. It is an interesting like playoff between do you just he did have a choice there, right? That I assume the Trench Gorger was the one he had it, so that's when he discarded to brutality. But at what point do you go for the Atraxas and the Archons that are extra long term value versus the kill you dead? I can definitely see on turn 3 where it might be kill you dead because I've got a wasteland and I'm on the play and I don't think you're going to get there.
I think also against a control deck, you just want to give them as few draws as possible.
Yeah.
Crack fetch. No. Are you even playing Stifle? No.
It's an interesting one because Owen's not played in a while. He was a regular quite often, but unfortunately his work shift has made it so he hasn't been able to play quite as often as he used to. So coming down today, he's like, oh, I'm not quite sure exactly what anybody's on, so I'm just kind of, do you have this? Do you have that? And obviously we've had the other Owen on recently playing your mono black price deck as well. So very different Owens playing very different styles of decks.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really cool, and another nod to how much the community is growing or has grown over the last few weeks is what it feels like. Another was it 24 again this week?
25.
25.
So yeah.
So yeah, it's becoming a regular thing now. I was thinking maybe that 24-25 number was going to be a one-off, and weird that just everybody turned up. Doesn't seem to be the case. We've got still getting more comments and messages from people wanting to get involved as well. So please do. It's a lot of fun, and the more the merrier for these kinds of events. So
yeah, it definitely makes it in a way. If any of you have seen the kind of the standings that we've got on the Discord, that when Matt submits them, you'll have seen George doing really, really well on Academy. And if anything, that's getting better because it's getting harder to method deck for Academy when you've got like a 3 in 25 chance of playing it versus what the general meta is as well.
Yeah, I mean, but considering how much George has been winning, I'm willing to take those chances, to be honest.
That's fair.
We have an Inquisition that is not resolving.
That's a nice remand as well. We're not having double black.
Hand.
Yeah, we're not having double black. Ed can't recast that, so that's the bestest of all remands almost. The only thing that's really better is a natural order or something like that, where you're really 2 for 1 in them, or 3 for 1 with the card draw from remand.
Be interesting to know whether Owen's actually trying to protect something or just firing it off because it's a cantrip attached to. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's hard to turn down the value of like basically time walking someone's turn 2 and you still draw a card. Whereas like a lot of the reanimate spells are cheap, so you don't really want to be remanding them anyway. So the things you might be most scared of, you like kind of just want to dig to have a hard counter spell or something like that to deal with that particular answer. But it's interesting about Owen's putting green into Jeskai Control to try and get a bit more pressure. What point do you tap out to try and get some of the pressure? Because this reanimated deck obviously can just combo a hard thing onto the battlefield, but it does have medium to long term play. Like it has card draw, counter spells, like that one's not resolving, that Silence Phantom, but there are it's not like, oh well, I didn't reanimate my Atraxa by turn 3 so I'm dead. There is better mid ground play to Reanimator than you might see in some like more pure combo decks as well.
Right, got you. I suppose once it gets to late game, you can just start slamming them.
Yeah, it feels pretty good to hardcast a Grizzlebrand or a Valgaroth or whatever, when you just be like, oh, fine. Remand this and I'll do it again next time.
Against a control player, I doubt that's going to work. But you might get to those late stages. But
yeah, you have to hope you get to those late stage and your opponent has
no resources left.
Yeah, less than 1 counter spell, which is always rough. But Owen must feel in a much better spot here. Ed's not resolved anything of relevance. There's nothing scary in the bin. He's been developing his mana.
See Owen's hand there. There's a 4th still. What was it? Counter spell? Was there
Which one? Sorry.
Spell?
I didn't catch. Did you mean 4th Lingus? Was what?
Yes.
What you had? Because that's a good reason to just hold off, and then 4th you for loads over 2 turns.
Well,
that might be what
you're
trying
to exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Or we're not, because intuition is a key one. Like the unpointed gifts ungiven, just a little bit worse. But only just a little bit worse.
This is interesting, right? Because we're gonna get a card and then one of them's going to be stripped.
Yeah. So, well, 2 of them will end up in the bin here, and 1 will end up in hand. So it's not the perfect way to do it, but they are like it does just look like Owen is trying to set up Flage, like at least a couple of times in a long-term value off this intuition. So it's not kind of the combo line that you often see with intuition gifts. It's more just the value. So it almost doesn't matter what Ed takes here because Owen can still do a bunch of like Flage things, but his decision on what he puts where is where it's taxing the mana or not.
But then the thing that goes to hand is going to be Inquisitioned anyway. I don't know. It's a weird one because again against Reanimator is an attacking Flage really going to be enough?
Yeah, that's fair. Like its interactive element is not as strong. And
I'd have been pretty tempted to go for some level of interaction or removal. But it's probably just get stripped. So it's a weird one to do it in response to an Inquisition, I guess.
I feel like you'll probably maybe Ed just takes the dress down anyway because it's so good against. Oh, especially he would do it as a show and tell.
Wow.
That's huge.
Oh, here, have your Arena for Glory.
Yeah,
oh wow, that's the one that's been cheated in as well. Incredible.
Yeah, so that's like a heads-up play from Ed, where he's trying to do the whole thing in that turn. Like,
okay, yeah.
It might have been. There's a reasonable chance, based on that being what Ed wanted to do as his play, that he was going to have to take dress down anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Like dress down doesn't completely hose Grizzlebrand. Dress down is worse against things like Atraxa or Falgavoths because you can interact with it without.
Yeah, it's not like it's an ETB. You do get to use Grizzlebrand later.
Yeah, and yeah, it would go away. Yeah, the activation ability of Grizzlebrand is instant speed. So even if Owen did, you can't also do it in response. You can't dress down in response to Grizzlebrand. I suppose the only downside of it is you could maybe draw 7 on the assumption you're going to gain 7 life, and then it loses lifelink. But that's a pretty niche upside for dress down when you're looking at the types of creatures that Ed is capable of playing.
Yeah, well, looks like we are drawing some cards.
Off to the races. The Grizzlebrand that goes unanswered is pretty rough.
After you've drawn 7, let's choose the best one to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm going to take the one best one away, and that one best one is probably going to be not impactful enough.
Yeah, that seems like as soon as your opponent has been able to draw 7 cards off a Grizzlebrand, you're probably in trouble.
I'm not sure what that full art one was. It looks like I would be taking a Murktide or an Imperial Seal here. I'm not sure how big the Murktide would be. There's at least 2 instances of sorceries I can see in the bin now, where nothing else is immediately scary. Spellseeker is kind of a bit scary, I guess. I'm not sure which one that is. Oh, Bitter Triumph, a removal spell.
Bitter Triumph was what was put on the bottom.
I think that's what was taken. I might have missed that. I might have missed it.
That doesn't seem right. I don't know.
Maybe it just wants to block this Grizzlebrand, but I looked at that hand and I felt like the Murktide was. I might have misseen it, but even if I'd have misseen what that was, I'd still think Murktide is. Yeah. That's an 8/8. That's another 8/8 flyer. I mean, I suppose Grizzlebrand isn't technically 8, but it's 7.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, like.
Another big one.
Yeah, this cute usage of River of Tears to get double black is nice.
Yep.
I like that.
You know about this one, you didn't know about Reprieve.
Big fan of him.
Yep. And that's Show and Tell, Inquisition, Consider, Sauron's Ransom, and him. So yeah, this is a full size Murktide. This is a lot of power and toughness on Ed's board for not a lot of mana, as Reanimators want to do. Yeah.
Wasn't expecting the Show and Tell. Should have expected the Show and Tell. Wasn't expecting the Show and Tell.
Show and Tell is a cool extra included in Reanimator. Like it's one of the good reasons to be. You don't often get mono black Reanimator decks. You are like limiting yourself quite a lot for not much upside.
Yep.
But it's definitely one of the bright sides of playing blue, which is one of the. You get lots of looting effects in blue, so it's nice to include anyway. Card selection that's good for trying to find threats and put things in. Find ways to reanimate.
You can also turn it into a bit of a tempo kind of thing. Like you're slamming something real big real early, and then you protect it
Yeah.
with the blue, which is kind of cool.
That Wrath of the Skies off the top for Owen is looking super sad. That is, if that was just a Wrath of God, not a Wrath of the Skies, that would be so good, right here. And can't really pay the 7. No 7 energy available, so we're gonna go with a Severac.
Weird that. Dig for some energy.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll pay another 7 life and see if I draw full.
Oh, gonna draw some more cards.
Why
Why
not?
not? Play life to play with.
Yeah, I was going to say we've hit once with it.
3, 4,
Gained some.
7.
Let's pay some. This is a fair card, isn't it?
None of those save.
Yeah.
I could always pay another 7.
Yeah, Grizzleband has fallen down the wayside a little bit in Reanimator decks, just because of Attraxor and Valgavoth, especially being the legendary ones, and Karakas making legendary ones a little bit worse.
Well, we said that we said it doesn't have an ETB, right? So
Yeah, exactly. But still good. I was chatting to Ben about this at the weekend. He was like, "This is basically a Reanimator deck from like 2 years ago," and he's changed it in small bits because he just hasn't had a chance to yet, really. This Severac is resolving. We should really have decided the target before we knew it was resolving, but that's not the end of the world. It doesn't look like anything too terrifying here. You know, Dress Down is just a cycle at this stage. Flage doesn't do much of note. Maybe it's just click to chump a little bit and try and dig into something better from your own hand, and maybe a land just to enable that. But
So am I right
this
in
feels-
saying that the way that this works is you choose your first target, that goes on the stack, the interaction happens, and the second target doesn't get
Yes.
chosen until the first bit resolves.
You declare your first target. You declare a target for the spell, and then when the spell resolves, you copy it and make another target. So if you were to counter the first Severac, the second one doesn't happen, which is not like a number of like copy type. Get 2 versions of this spell.
Yep.
Putting Johnny on the bottom seems fair against 15 power flyers. Don't really need that very much.
Yes. I like how it's gone down, gone under their face up as well. Like,
Yeah.
Pass through phases, go to Wednesday, that goes away. When you're ready.
So again, there's a couple of draw steps here for Owen, but there is so many cards in hand. You just got to wonder if we're not just the odds of him not having a follow up that just goes, oh well, I've got you. Even if you do top deck some kind of all inclusive wrath, probably just gonna top deck something else that lets me get another large creature in play because I've got this many cards. Where's the downside? Especially when your graveyard is basically another hand from its point of view. Although a lot of those should be in exile. They would delve to the Murktide.
Yes.
So they're not actually graveyard cards. Hopefully that doesn't come up at any point.
Draw 2 cards, then discard a card.
there we go. We've fixed it.
Yeah, that's why that matters, yeah.
Yeah. Even better. That actually makes this a lot better for me. Sorry.
Carry on.
Yeah, I suspect Ed would rather be able to discard
Yeah,
a large
we
creature
want
than
to
than
discard
has anyway,
cards.
so-
Draw 2 party.
Back to collective brutality again.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it's one of the
please.
nice things about this deck means that there's Vargoth Hint has been there, which is huge. But it's one of the nice things about this type of deck means that you get extra bits of value from these like pretty playable cards anyway, like Collective Brutality and Taking Doors.
Downsides.
Yes. Downsides, exactly. Same as you get from some of the Grixis discard or Grixis Madness. Yeah, here's a life or death, death. The death half of life death. That was really poorly explained.
But having said that, like you're bringing something back to life. Like what? That's not death.
Yeah. So Ed losing a bunch of life to the death there, going down, but is now going to gain a bunch of it back from lifelink from the Squizzle brand, and then taking a bunch more damage. So this is 3 lethal flyers
Yep.
on Ed's side of the battlefield. This is Wrath or Bust. I'm not sure if Owen is playing like pure, like unadulterated classical Wraths. There's a Brotherhood's End in here, which makes total sense. Terminus off the top, but
That's what it's gonna have to be.
that's pretty much it. I think it might be Terminus off the top or Mystical Tutor
Yeah.
for Terminus off the top.
Unmarked Grave's an interesting card.
Legendary.
Yep. Huge downside of not being able to get legends. What a shame. And it does create an interesting challenge. Like a lot of these reanimated decks don't play things like Gory's Vengeance anymore because you don't get persist, you don't get unmarked grave if you play that type of line. But a lot of them do still split between legends and non-legends because I don't know if it's commander design, but it's just some terrifying large legendary creatures.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Archon is not a legend.
No. So that can, if there is a... I think we've already had... we had persist in the first game, didn't we? For the Trench Gorger, so that can be persisted.
Yes.
Uh,
I like how Ed is very much just going, look, it looks like I've won here, but I'm still going to set up for if there's a board wipe, because the way that I lose here is board wipe.
Yeah, it is.
Alright, we're going to dig for one.
I'm not sure what that dig through time is
But
doing for.
I don't think, because you can't terminus now.
No, drawn a card. So some kind of awkward combination of... I'm not sure if Owen's brainstormed yet. Some kind of awkward combination of brainstorm and terminus.
Yeah, it's
like
going to be
that.
terminus
Yeah.
and cantrip on their turn.
Yeah. But you obviously need terminus on top of library as well. So you need like a way to put it on top of library on your own turn and then draw it next turn. So that's probably brainstorm, terminus, and an instant
And a cantrip.
speed cantrip.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a lot to ask for from this dig through time if you don't have... Obviously, it's too much if you don't have one of them in hand already.
It would be
Let's see
cool
what
if
Owen's got.
cool if Owen did. No, that's not brainstorm. It could have happened. It could have happened.
No shuffle though. Just
Step
try and
one
scale.
has been step one has been achieved. I didn't see the cards. Don't want it spoiling.
Okay.
Not a terminus on the top, which is the problem.
I did see the cards, so I won't spoil it for you.
You already did. You already
There we
did.
go.
And Owen has spoiled it for me as well.
One hand, it was terrible.
Yeah, pretty comprehensive showing from the reanimated deck there, just having the tools it needed and catching enough cards. Took a bit longer, so good showing against control style matchup that it doesn't have to go crazy turn 2, turn 3 to win. But yeah, just had the pieces.
I think if anybody's interested in playing Reanimator in this format, this is a good match to watch to go. These are the things that you can do.
These are things you want to do, right? That you're mulliganing to as well.
Yeah, for sure. Very cool. Well, congrats to Ed, and thank you to all of you for joining, and thanks again to you, James.
Cheers, mate.
Catch you next time. Bye.